A wise man once told me, yes, my English teacher in high school, never assume because it makes an ass out of you and me. I agree. Hello people, I'm Jen or Guinea and welcome to this episode of LifeSnip. Who here likes to judge people? And I think that's totally okay, as long as you accept that you may be wrong about them once you know more. Also, as long as you don't treat them differently because of what you think or assume about them. So on a recent taxi ride, I was having quite a good conversation with a taxi driver. Long story short, the taxi driver knew that I was working in Germany. He told me that I was so lucky and that I should just stay there and not go home. I told him for the long term I want to go back to Jakarta, to Indonesia, because this is my hometown and I like it here. I have family here. And he told me, well, I know you're homesick and stuff, but you really have to think about your opportunities there. Here you're not gonna get as much as what you're gonna get there, blah 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 blah. Well, I agree, but he doesn't know my story and why I choose to come back. During the ride, he asked me more questions and I answered. One of the pivotal questions was he asked me if I had any siblings and I said, no, I'm an only child. And he's like, oh my god. Then I said, now you know why I want to go home even more, because my family only has me as an only child. I don't have siblings to take care of them. And then the conversation goes on and then he asked me, what does your dad work in? And I told him, oh, my dad passed away a few months ago. And he's like, Innalillahi, oh my god. And then I told him again, now do you see why I really want to go back to Indonesia later on? My mom's here alone and I want to be with her. And at that point, he started to realize my reasonings. So I feel like that kind of happens a lot in our lives, and I'm guilty as charged, by the way. Like, I judge people quite a lot. And when I say judge, I mean like when I see someone for the first time, I kind of try to guess based on how they look, how they dress, how they interact with me. And most times I'm wrong, which is fine, because it's just natural for us to have prejudice towards people. It makes our brains like make sense of the things going on around us. But it's very important to realize that you're wrong, especially when you assume things about race, about gender, about religion. And I grew up in a culture where there are certain races or certain religions that we're told to be careful about. But as I grew up and went out of my bubble in society and actually went to uni where there's a lot of mixed races and mixed religions, and especially when I went abroad and was really exposed to a lot of different cultures, I really rethought about a lot of my values and principles and ideas I had about certain people from certain countries or certain backgrounds, because I realized they're really not like what I've heard. Pre-assumptions are so often wrong, and we have to accept that. We have to know that. The thing is, it's not only around strangers that we have these assumptions. Even with our best friends or even family, we can still assume things when we don't know the whole story. So recently, a good friend of mine, she called me about how stressed out she is at work. And I gave her some advice that I could gather based on what she told me on the call. I told her, don't stress out so much, it's just work. You don't have to take everything personally. And I felt pretty good about the advice because she said, yeah, that's good advice, you know. But then I met her in person and then she told me the whole story. And I was so surprised because it's so much more stress than I thought. There's so many more things going on that she didn't tell me that I didn't see. And when I told her if it's really burdening your heart, then just quit the job, she said, I can't because I'm paying for my little sister's college. At that point, I felt so bad and sad. It broke me because I assumed that she was just being whiny about her situation, but I didn't even understand the slightest bit of what she's going through, and I dare tell her to just not stress out, you know, and that she should be stronger than that. Like, I know you're stronger than that. It sounds encouraging, but it's really not. Especially nowadays in the era of social media, people really only show the good things, the hangouts, you know. So many people are like, see this guy, he just goes out with his friends. Like, it's like he doesn't even have a job. Those narratives are so common, but what if he's working from 7 a.m. till 11 p.m. every single day, or 2 a.m. and then he only shows off his Saturdays hanging out with his friends on social media? Like, who are you to tell him that he can't post about hanging out with friends? You don't know what he's going through. And guess what? Everyone has their own problems that is specifically designed for them that only they can solve. So the next time you want to judge people, that's alright. But remember, you're probably wrong. You need to know the whole story. And even if you know the whole story, you've never walked a mile in their shoes. Everyone has their own problems, and all problems are big in their own rights. The best thing you can do is just to be there and support them, and never ever look down on anyone's problems, no matter how small you think they are. So that's the life snip of the day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Oh, if you guys want to watch a good movie about like stereotypes and how wrong people are, Shadow and Bones. It's a Netflix series that I recently finished binge watching. In the series, there's a lot of clans. Every clan has their own stereotypes and basically scared and hate each other. But once they actually meet, they're completely different from how they actually are. It's really good.